Hey, everybody, welcome back to How to Launch and Scale Your Perfect Online Business. As you've been watching today, obviously, we ran a little bit late on the last one. I've already apologized to Sabah for being a little bit late. I respect her time so much, and I can't wait for today's episode. How are you?
I am doing so good. I know that I've been on your podcast show, Facebook, YouTube, so many times I can't even count. So I'm so happy that you invited me back here because every time we have a conversation, there's always something new. I love sharing to your audience. I'm so happy that I'm here.
And do you know what, actually? I follow your journey like so intently all the time. It's just so crazy to see like different strategies and like obviously different things go popping off all the time. I know I do the promotion bit at the end, like, but you're right in the middle of a launch of another product, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah. So I have a branding program coming out on Monday, which is really exciting. And yeah, that program is just really focused on kind of like the new way and the new approach of, what I'm doing with things. And like, yeah, what you just said, as a business owner, as a coach, as a brand, I'm always growing and evolving too. So every time I come out with, new offers and everything, it's just really touching on the new way of how I'm doing things.
No, do you know what? Yeah, as you say, there's always like, especially with we covered that on the last episode about like things change, obviously dynamics of
Yeah.
business and all those different things, and you've got to be able to adapt to survive. Now, well, not to survive, but to thrive. Now,
Yeah.
in every single one, and this is kind of why I put you at the last episode for the day section.
Yeah.
Every single one has had a personal brand. Every single one has said personal brands are like incredible, and they've still got different things. But so hence why like everybody has said, starting an online business, your business is tied to your brand is tied to your business. They are different identities, but they are very intertwined.
Yeah.
Why is a personal brand so important?
Yeah. I love this question. And there's so much I can share with it. But the main thing that I want to share why a personal brand is important is because I always love to use examples, right? Like for an example, yesterday I actually just made a piece of content on this. Like if you look at like a worldwide brand and a worldwide product that people buy and sell, they're like shoes, right? Like athletic shoes that people use to work out, to run. Now, the reason why when I go to the gym and I notice people's shoes and the majority of people wear Nikes, Adidas, Under Armour, is because of their brand. It's not even like the quality of shoe or what it's made out of. Of course, some of them, might be better than the other, but the reason why people always immediately think of those companies is because of their brand, right? So the way I always love to think about branding is there are millions of people selling the exact same product or offer as you are, whether it's coaching, a service, or an actual physical product. The reason why someone buys from you is the brand. Right. So like brand, it's not even something that's like optional. When I look at a business, it's something that is the foundation because without it, what I always think about is you're always going to be chasing clients because you're focused on selling the product versus focus on selling the actual brand itself.
And you are right. Like obviously, even to the point you mentioned shoes before. Like when I was a kid, and to be fair, like only till recently, like I would buy the football boots of the
Mhm.
footballers that I would like. I
Yeah.
replicated like when I used to be a goalkeeper. My favorite goalkeeper, I'd buy the goalkeeper gloves because that's the ones he had, and so those personal brands are so powerful in relations to even if it's not like personal brand coaching services, for instance, like your personal brand, it can be so like effective for whatever you are selling. Like Elon Musk is a personal brand, and
Mhm.
but he's got like so many different companies, and he uses his personal brand to help push those companies. Like for someone who wants to start an online business, which is obviously right at the start, like but they're scared of putting themselves out there. What would you say is a good way or some tips to get over that fear and start building that personal brand that separates you from other people?
Yeah. So when I love to describe personal branding, it really is just you, right? So you only have like, you're the only one who has your story. You're the only one who has your personality. You're the only one who has your experiences. So the easiest way that you can start to build your personal brand is to just document your entire journey, right? And like the reason why I always say that is because that's how I started before I ever even had a business, before I ever even sold a product online. All I did was vlog, and I would, get on video every single day and do lives to my audience, and people start to notice that I was this college entrepreneur who's going out and doing her own thing. And that's how people got intrigued, because they weren't focused on the money I was making, because I was making zero back then, but what they were really focused on was the day-to-day journey of what I was actually doing. And through that, they saw my beliefs, they saw my values, they saw my strengths, they saw my weaknesses, and they really valued certain. And so one story I always love to talk about, when I talk about this, is one of my first ever clients I got on social media. The reason why they bought was because they saw me show up so consistently. And that's one of my pillars of my brand, is consistency, right? That has nothing to do with my products or my offers or sales or marketing, but that's a value that people actually see in my brand, which is why they follow, which is why they always come back and buy from me. So for you, as you start to document and create content online and just be you, people will start to follow based on your own values, your own beliefs, your own experiences and everything that you're doing. And this is the easiest way to do it, because sometimes when people think about like, how do I create a personal brand? They create something that's not them, right? They'll look at their favorite influencers or coaches or celebrities and be like, I want to be them because it's working for them. But that takes away the raw essence of your brand, because it's not you. So yeah, if you're starting from day one, just honestly document. That's like the easiest way to do it.
Now, do you know, a couple of people have said that today, like about the documentation. Now, let's go strip it back even more. What do you document? Do you document your
Yeah.
breakfast? Do you document like how do you know what's important to document and what isn't? Like
Yeah.
what do you
So
put? Because I'm
yeah,
shocking at documenting. Awful.
yeah. So when I was documenting, and I'll vividly share, when I was the senior, my last year of college, this is probably now like what, 4 years ago. I documented every single day of my last year of college by doing a daily Facebook Live. So like the last day I was walking across the stage getting my diploma, and it was like day 265 or something. Every single day, what I documented, it was basically just what I was doing that day or what was on my mind, right? So some days I would be, walking to class and I was on campus, and I would just go live and be like, this is what's going on today. And during of me doing that, I was starting a business. So people saw like the entire process of me starting a business. And the other day, I just looked at my memories, and one of those lives was I just filed my first LLC. So I was sharing like the progress and the seeds of like, guys, like this is happening. I filed my LLC, and like even just the excitement of the small things, like people wanted to watch because they wanted to see whether or not like I would actually follow through with it. Right. Because there might be some people in my audience back then, and of course still now, where they might want to do the exact same thing, but they didn't have the courage at the time to actually do what I was doing. So now looking back, and I'm like, how did I actually build this brand? How did I build this audience? There were those seeds that I was doing without really knowing I was doing it back then. But, everything from, different points of me starting my business, things about college. Like there was a time where I was about to fail my class and I didn't know if I was going to graduate because I was so focused on my business, and I would, miss so many classes to go travel to events and do all the things. And like I shared everything. Like there were days where I would come on, do a live and be like, I don't want to do this live. It's at like 11 p.m. at night, but here I am. Like nothing really exciting happened today, but maybe tomorrow something will happen. Right. So I think sometimes people think like, in order for me to document, my life has to be like super exciting, which it doesn't. Right. Like the day-to-day mundane, like people love watching that. And like the last point I'll make on this is, recently the big platform is TikTok. So many influencers who became influencers simply did that by talking directly to camera while they're eating their food or while they're doing their makeup or while they're driving to work. Same thing, day after day, but people love it.
I know, like I was on TikTok lives TikTok the other day, and obviously they push the lives, don't they? They put the lives in front of you. And I was like, I was like, what is this? Because obviously I'm getting close to the 1,000, so I can go live pretty soon. I think I'm only about 70 followers away, so go and follow
Yeah.
me on TikTok, help me get to that 1,000. But like, and I was sat there, they were like, there was one person who literally had her TikTok live there, and she was serving customers in a coffee shop. I was like,
Mhm.
and she was literally just talking to the customers, and people were what it had loads of views, loads of likes. I was like, she's
Yeah.
just doing it. I was like, she's literally just talking to customers. She's not even talking to you. I was like, she was talking to her customer. I was like, and it scratched my head. I was like, why does that work?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and one of the reasons why that works is because people love to feel connected to somebody from a comfortable standpoint. So like because when I'm on TikTok, I watch those videos and people are just like, getting ready or they're eating their food because it does create that connection of comfort. Like there isn't anything like big I have to do. I can just like comfortably watch them. And usually, when people are doing that and when you are attracted to this people, there is something about them that you like that you might not even subconsciously know. So for me, I actually analyze this. I'm like, why do I follow certain people? They have like nothing to do with business, nothing to do with marketing. Like, I will never work with them. They're like random ass people I found on TikTok who like create random videos. I'm like, why am I attracted to them and why do I watch them? And what came up was like, I'm so attractive to how like they just don't care. Like they don't care about lighting. They don't care about where they're recording their videos. Like they don't care if they mess up. Like it's so unedited, so unscripted. I'm like, that's really interesting that I'm attracted to that. Right. And I think that's like a really big factor that I took away because TikTok is something so really new that I'm building. I'm
Hmm.
close, to breaking that 10,000 follower point, but for me, TikTok is a new platform because I've never created content there. So learning those things and really just observing why do you follow people and why do you continue follow them will give you great insight on what you can do for your own brand and content moving forward too.
Ah, nice. Okay, because like people like the one you can always like relate to from a personal brand perspective, it, and obviously seeing the lifestyle is the Kardashians, isn't it? Like as much as like my missus still watches them. Like they're literally just doing their daily life, and like obviously I'm sure they plan some interesting things to actually record. But I was like,
Yeah.
they're literally like having an argument with their mum, effectively, or like
Yeah.
arguing with their sister, or slagging off the boyfriend, and it's getting like millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
It's like that just shows like the power of personal brand because effectively, like I'm not saying like downgrade it, but like they were effectively nobody when they started, weren't they? It wasn't like they
Hmm.
they were big and then people were watching that show and from day one,
Right.
and it's just like that. I think obviously the personal brand thing is absolutely massive, and it's like I don't think people understand exactly how powerful it can be for you in your business. What sort of like if you were just starting out, and obviously we've got like the fear of like going out and being a personal brand, etc. Like, if you were just starting out, like you're saying documentation, like what other things would you do like to in order to grow that personal brand a little bit quicker?
Mhm. Yeah. So aside from just documenting, and creating content, get clear on why you're building a personal brand and what that vision looks like for you. Of course, when I first started my personal brand, back then I wasn't even aware I was building a brand, but I also wasn't aware of what I wanted to start like in my business. For me, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I knew I wanted to, create my own thing, but I didn't know what that was. So like people also know I started like a podcast show and a clothing line before I ever got into coaching. So, when I first started, what I did know was I just wanted to motivate people to like just move and take action in their lives, just to become better, right? To become better at working out and communicating, like just like the really simple stuff. So my mission back then when I was in college was live a better lifestyle in college. Like that's what my entire goal was. That's why I created content. That's why I blogged, did all the things. So for you, if you're starting out, like get clear on why you're creating your brand, and who is it going to be for, right? Like, what are you going to be focusing on? And that doesn't mean you have to niche down, really, really zoned in, especially if you don't know what you want to do for your business, or if you want to monetize it, like whatever your goal is. But just get clear on what that looks like, because that will also give you more direction of the type of content you want to create, right? Because when I still documented early on, like I wasn't talking about, like fashion and relationships and like love life. Like that's not something I was like really interested in. But that wasn't something I wanted to build my brand around. So I talked more about, business and marketing and confidence and social media, like the things that I really, really liked. So that's one thing that I would definitely suggest is, just start creating content, getting clear around what your brand may look like. And then the second thing that I don't talk about a whole lot, but it definitely helped me early on, is collaborate with other people and just get around other people who either are already, in the path and in the way of what you want to, progress your brand and your business into, or people that are just starting out. Because now that I look back at what I did during my college years, I got on like a lot of podcast shows and I did like interviews, and I started podcast shows simply to connect with people. Like I had a podcast show for about like 6 months. I had a co-host, and I think it was like episode 50. We got like John Lee Dumas on our show. We were like two college students, and like that was, of course, huge for us. And like all the other guests that we had on there, we were just learning and connecting and getting our name out there. So, that's just something that you can do more from like a strategic standpoint. If you're really focused on like growing your audience fast, that's something that I really recommend people doing.
I had no idea you had a podcast. Like, and I've
Not many
interviewed you
people
so
do.
many times.
Not many
Like,
people do. Yeah, it
no
was
idea you
called,
had a
I'll
podcast.
tell you, it was called Dorm Rooms to Conference Rooms. So once again, back then, like I was, in college, I had a co-host, Dan Tiemann. He was also in college, and it wasn't for that long. I want to say 6 months, but that was like the first, like really initial thing that we did to really start growing our brands. Learned a lot, but we realized podcasting wasn't for us back then.
Ah, wow, that's crazy. Obviously, so you were growing your personal brand, obviously through a podcast to start with. You were so like the obviously picking up on the elements, like obviously for people, because the podcast has been mentioned a couple of times already. Obviously yourself, Ben at the start with Break the Chains. Axel's got a podcast. So you've got like, and then you had your was it Facebook or Instagram lives daily that you done? Was both?
Facebook Lives.
So you're doing Facebook Lives every day, and we touched back on, I think it was again in Ben's show where we said like it's Russell Brunson who says, doesn't it? If you post every single day for 365 days, you will never have to worry about making money again.
Mm-hmm.
So like obviously that comes back to the you said like daily lives, you document every single day in college. Yeah, you call it college, yeah. Right up into, so picking out these elements, it's like posting consistently, which you've already mentioned, like picking a platform that you're comfortable with. You tried podcasting, wasn't for you, but Facebook Lives you managed to do for a full year, and you still go live, you still do videos like up until this day. So I know that's obviously, I'm not even going to work it out, but that's a good chunk of years where you've been consistently showing up
Mm-hmm.
and just going live, obviously a little bit more unscripted, and like just going out and delivering what you need to, because you don't have a YouTube channel either, do you? Or you
I have one, but I don't like actively
use
post
it?
on there.
Yeah, so you are solely on socials building that brand. So Facebook, Instagram, and now obviously TikTok.
Yeah.
So we've got post consistently, go live, connect with people, collaborate with people. Similar to what I'm literally doing right now. Obviously, I've
Yeah.
known Sabah for a few years, but obviously I've got 20 guests on. Some people I've never even met. Like one of the podcasts today with Bogdan, and that was the first time I've ever spoken directly to Bogdan. I was like, right, okay. And I've got loads of guests coming up that I've never met or spoke to. And I'm super, super excited for that, because as you grow that network and that, it's great, isn't it? Obviously, if I've got a question, I can always come to you. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
you've got that network of people to build that around, because when you come away from your phone and your laptop and you step out into the outside world, how many people can you literally in your vicinity go and talk to about personal branding? And they're like, yeah, I get that. And it's not like building that network online, which helps in so many different ways.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's like, one more thing that I'd love to say about personal branding is I don't do it just for my business. I do it just for like long-term play, because your personal brand, it never goes away. I talked about this one time before when I spoke at an event, and it was more so event focused on um, like more so like softwares and ads, and it wasn't necessarily like social media type of event where the things that I do on social media, but it was a different type of event where people didn't focus on personal branding, they focus more on like the numbers. And I spoke there, and one thing that I talked about that a lot of people really resonated with was, if you get to a point in your business where you sell your business and you built a brand around your business, nobody's going to know who you are after that. Right? You're not going to have any opportunities if you sell your business. Right? So the reason why I focus and talk about like build your personal brand, of course, you can also build your business brand, but if you sell your business, you still have your personal brand and you're going to still have opportunities. Your audience is still going to be there. But if you sell off your business, audience, clients, and everything, they're going to go with the business. They're not going to go with you, right? There's so many CEOs and like millionaires and billionaires, which of course, if that's your choice and you don't want to have a personal brand, that's amazing. You don't have to, you can still build a business that way. But like, if you see yourself having, doing more things aside from just your business and speaking and even, creating like, a movie or books or anything else that has nothing to do with your business and nobody knows who you are, that's going to be really, really hard for you to create if like 10 years later you sell your business and nobody knows who you are. And I see this happen a lot because I've even had clients in the past where they're like, yeah, I built like a multi-million-dollar business, but now I want to speak on stages and like throw events, but I have no social media presence and nobody knows who I am. And like, I'm not saying that if like 10 or 20 years later you can't build a business or you can't build a personal brand, but it is a little bit harder because like you're not sharing your entire journey of you doing that thing. Like, it's still possible for you to create it, but you have so many more opportunities because once again, people follow you because of you, regardless of what your business is.
And you know what? Like, that is, I never thought of it like that. But although obviously, like, I've got the personal brand and obviously I've been growing over the years, like, I've never thought about that. It's like, if you literally hide, and this is so golden. If you hide away and don't show up, but you still manage to build a successful business, there's so many people who've started a business, built a business, and hate a business. And they go sell, like, get rid. I've seen that so many times. Like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And I've been the same. Like, I don't want to do an events company anymore. Like, I phased out the agency and like all of these, like, but I've always had my personal brand to back me up, like, and obviously move into the expertise that I have. Like, if I literally built, like, for instance, like the business partner on one of the companies that I had, like, he didn't build his personal brand as much as I did. And now, as you say, he's got no audience, he's got nothing. Like, he has to go out and find a different way to make money. And it's crazy to think of like how many businesses are actually in that situation where people don't really know who the owner is, or like, but as you say, like, business collapse, business sold, like, any reason, like, if you don't have that personal brand to back you up, like, you start from scratch. And if you've been doing that one business for 30 years and you've got to start from scratch, like, that's a lot, because it's building a business again, isn't it? At least if you do it side by side. Like, Bill Gates could sell everything tomorrow, lose Microsoft, whatever. He could literally make money the minute he picks up a phone and says, I want to speak on your stage. How much will you pay?
Yeah. It's crazy to me because like what you said, it's like, it's not extra work. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I don't think it's extra work to build your personal brand because it is just side and side and is parallel to your business, right? It's like, instead of just focusing on selling the product, focus on selling the transformation and just the experience that you're going through, right? And one thing I also like want to make really clear is that doesn't mean you shouldn't build your business brand. Like definitely do that too, but make it a point that you are like the founder or the CEO or like the president of your company. So, more people get enticed to work with you and then of course buy your products.
No, that, and you know what, go into the marketing world that obviously like we live in. Like Russell Brunson's got that, hasn't he? Like he has literally got this personal brand, and everybody uses ClickFunnels. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people use ClickFunnels. If he was to walk away from ClickFunnels tomorrow, he could still make money on so many different levels because his personal brand is so strong. But so is the ClickFunnels brand.
Mhm.
They're both very, very strong. But as you say, like Russell has got that, who can just go and make like tons, and he does anyway. Like, but goes and make tons of money if ClickFunnels fell down one day. So where would you start now? In today's world, it's a lot different to when you originally started back in college. I know you're still not that old, but like the years have changed, hasn't it? Like
Yeah.
the strategies have changed. Like, what would you do if you were literally going, Sabah has been wiped off the planet, for someone, but a social media planet for some reason? Where would you go? Where would you start?
Yeah. Yeah. So, in terms of like, I'll talk about strategy, then I'll also talk about like what platform I would focus on. In terms of strategy of what I would do, I would honestly do the exact same thing. I would document and share my journey of me like building a business, building a brand, because that still works and people still want to watch it. So I would do the exact same thing. But in terms of like platform, I would be on TikTok. Like the reach on there just like blows my mind. Anyone can go literally viral overnight. And that's where I want to say, like, that really is where, for me now and where I'm at in my business, that is where like my bigger market of clients are at. There's things I'm focusing on in the next few months in my business where like, TikTok is where I'm going to get a lot of clients. But, if I was starting over from scratch, like I would do the exact same thing. Like I would document my journey. I would, share the process of me, starting, my website, my offers, my LLC. But like with that also being said, if everything went away, but I still had like the knowledge that I have, I would invest into like a long-term mentor and just like work with them every single day. Because early on, like I had a mentor since day one, but early on, I definitely jumped from like a lot of mentors to coaches because I was chasing like, what's the perfect strategy in order for me to make a lot of money? But what I didn't know was any strategy works, right? It just depends on what you actually want to work every single day, like what strategy you want to work. Um, so for me, like once again, like I would do the exact same thing. Like I study people like right now, since I'm so focused on TikTok, like I've studied influencers who have grown within months, within like a year. Literally nobody knew them a year ago. And now they have like millions of followers. And when I look at their content, they literally all do the exact same thing. This is like a day in my life. Like this is what I'm doing. I'm like getting coffee. Like it's literally so simple that it's so stupid, right? It's like why is she or why is he an influencer? Like how did they grow super fast? It's because of that. So like strategy wise, I wouldn't change it. Like I would document, I would share strategy, I would share tips, and I would do the exact same thing. Like I think that's one thing that is never going to go away, because if you look at how every single person in like the entire world, like you mentioned, celebrities and Kardashians, like every single person, they grew by doing this, by literally sharing the story, by documenting, but still teaching in their own way, like, teaching whatever it is that you want to teach. Um, so that's what I would do. Like I wouldn't overcomplicate the process. But one thing I would do is I probably would monetize a lot sooner than what I did before. It took me, I mean, I went through a lot of different business models to get clear in what I actually really loved, which was coaching. But I could have monetized a lot sooner in a much more strategic way, than I did, because I didn't really get into like full blown coaching until 2019, like a year after I graduated college. Because before that, I was doing done for you, like Instagram work, like agency work for companies. But like I would do it a lot sooner. So I think everyone also that's watching, sometimes people might think, okay, like now you need to first focus on branding and then like build an audience. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to monetize. You can monetize like fairly quickly. You just need to be really clear once again in your offer and the transformation that you're selling somebody. But if you're clear that you want to build a business, you want to monetize your brand, just get clear on what that looks like and don't be afraid to start doing it within like the first few months of you building a brand.
Yeah, because you said like you went through the whole of college before you even put any offer out.
Yeah.
So I totally get that in terms of like obviously monetizing quicker. Um, where would you like obviously you went with coaching, obviously, but obviously you had the fashion thing, Amazon as well. Did you try an Amazon FBA or anything like
Yeah,
that?
I didn't do Amazon FBA, but I did e-commerce drop shipping with
Oh, right.
Shopify, and I did that for a summer. Made money, but I realized that I was too much behind the scenes, and I didn't like it that much.
So when you're building out these offers, what goes through your head? Because you like it's ridiculous, like how often you can throw out an offer, how good the offer is, and how great the offer sells.
Mhm.
What is the strategy behind having that personal brand, leveraging it, and then getting
Yeah.
those offers?
Yeah. So what I was doing like a year ago versus now, like my offers look a lot different. So,
Mm,
what you see now in my business is I'm teaching like pieces of my entire framework. So, years ago or like, a year and a half ago, I basically only had like one or two offers where like you join this, it's how you take it, and I teach you everything in this one offer. What I realized personally for me as a business owner, that model just didn't really work for me that effectively. And I also learned there's a lot of people in my audience who I couldn't support because they only want to like learn certain pieces of what I was teaching. So
mm,
with the offers that I'm putting out now, the reason why it's so simple and easy for me to create, market, and sell is because I'm doing the exact same thing I've been doing. It just delivered in a different way. So instead of like, my signature program last year was like Brands That Sell, right? It was a 3-month program where I teach you basically everything to brand, market, and sell your offers. Now, I can have specifically an offer on how to create like your offer suite, right? Which is
mm,
what I ran back in April. And that was all focused on creating offers, the structure, the delivery, how to get results through it, the branding, how to market it. And then, recently I just ran a program on like launching, right? How to actually do the launch, market, and sell. So for me, it's simple to create them because I've already been teaching that for years. But it's also like easier for me to market and it's easier for people to buy because it is like it's lower ticket. It's still like mid-tier ticket. So like, $1,000 somewhere around there. Um, but it gives people also the freedom to buy just like what they need, right? Because
mm.
sometimes there might be a point in your business where you don't want to learn how to, I don't know, craft an offer because you already have offers and now you just want to learn how to sell, right? So if I have a sales program coming out, it's much more likely someone's going to buy into that versus, buying into like a full on program that they don't necessarily need. So the way that I look at my offers, it just really depends on like once again what the goal looks like. Like I still have like my higher end, clients and masterminds, like long-term containers. But yeah, like that's like for me, that's working so far and I like it. But I would really recommend, for everyone that's watching, test to see like what type of model you like, especially if you're just starting, because there's so many different models, so many different offer types you can create. So just test it, right? And then eventually you'll kind of find what works good for you. And eventually you might grow out of it like how I did, and then find a new and different type of model in your like still in your same business, but something that's a little bit more effective for you.
Okay, so when you create like obviously these offers, now this is going slightly away from personal branding, but I
Yeah.
watch you so often. I'm just going to take this opportunity. So when you like create all these consistent little different offers, etc. Obviously, there's a launch all the time. Like there's a system. There's the launch. There's the announcement, the promotion, the launch, the course. Right? Do you ever have something on like evergreen? Like how do you turn it automated? Because obviously there's always a bit of content. There's always like a launch, like
Yeah.
something that you launched back in April. do you still sell them now without having to do anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So people will still reach out to me and ask if I have programs on different topics that I might not be currently doing a launch for. So if that happens, I can sell them like an evergreen program that I maybe ran like, a few months ago or something. So that still happens frequently. Like people will also, like most people will find me through Instagram, and I have highlights on my Instagram of all of my offers that are ran for like the year. So people also like click through those and they'll be like, oh, like she had a program on like how to, create offers or how to sell or how to grow on Instagram. Like, I wonder if that's still available. And then they'll message me and then they'll buy if I send them the link. So that's one way that I will continue to sell my, previous offers that might not be launching right now. But I also do a lot of like, bundles, and I do like flash sales for like master classes, that I ran earlier this year as well. But yeah, like what I have found is most of the time, if people will buy into one of my like group programs, they are 10 times more likely to continue buying my other offers and eventually ascend into like my higher level programs. Like I was just looking at my clients for the year, and I want to say like my retention rate for my clients is much, much, much higher than it was when I was just selling a 90-day program. Like I want to say it's like 75 to 80% of my clients are repeat clients, and they've stayed, continue buying my stuff, just because of how my business model looks like right now.
Okay, so that one's quite interesting. So lifetime value of a customer, is that higher or lower than it was?
It's higher.
It's higher, okay.
Yeah.
And obviously, so because obviously, like I remember what your program cost were, so it's now higher in the model you are now. Your retention rate's higher as well. So obviously, I know the answer is you are making more money, but the reason the retention rate, obviously, from a personal point of view, obviously outside looking in and purchasing some of the programs, like the reason it is the personal brand, it's the consistent. It's like like I know, like years later, you've still got my back, like, and it's absolutely insane. It's like you still have my back years later, and I don't think I've purchased anything off you for possibly a year, maybe 9 months max.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's that personal brand. Like I'm still following you. I still study you. I still buy
Yeah.
your stuff when it's like, yes, that's what I need right now. Because as
Yeah.
you say, the micro offers compared to obviously what brands that sell would cost. So like the are micro offers. So like if I'm like sell on stories or a launch that I'm doing, it's like I actually need that right now.
Yeah.
Sabah, give it me, give it me, give it me.
Yeah.
But it's that personal brand that keeps you like, but she's always there. She's always got your back. She's always there to support you if needed. And that's come through obviously the consistent personal branding. So as you say, like your lifetime value of a customer is higher. You've been able to scale easier because you're not spending all your time on sales calls anymore.
Yeah.
And obviously you're just making more money. But the core foundation of the whole thing is because of your personal brand.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. It's like when I look at the way that I have my business model now, like it would be 10 times harder for me to sell my offers if I was doing it this way and I didn't have a brand. Right. Because like the retention of clients and people coming back to buy, like from a strategic standpoint, it makes sense because every single offer I put out, it's like the next puzzle piece. Right. It's like the way that I started off this year. It started with like the foundations of, okay, let's get clear on your offer first. And then get clear on like marketing and content, then launching, and now it's sales. So it's like the entire framework, it's chronological, right? So it just makes sense for people to join the next thing. And then eventually, because they like the way I coach and the way I deliver, then they'll ascend into like my higher level stuff just because more support and accessibility to me. Um, so yeah, like I love it. It works, but once again, like looking back, I am glad that I went through how I built my business because I feel like back then that's what I needed to get good at marketing, at sales, at
Mm.
even coaching. And now it's easier for me to create these offers and know how to market and sell and also deliver in a way that in like the smaller containers, people will get results, right? Because if they don't, they're not going to come back, right?
Mm.
So you
Yeah.
also want to have that piece into there too.
Do you know what I feel like? Especially when you mentioned the like, I just burst out laughing. I got dead smile. Like the piece when you dropped the chronological thing, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, I feel like that statement alone should have cost me about 10 grand. I was like, how?
I'm giving
I,
it all away.
I felt like slapping myself in the face. I was like, how fucking obvious. I
Yeah.
was like, why is like a lot of people, because people just like, oh, what should I throw out next? What should I do next? What should I
Yep.
create next to help grow the audience, build a brand, and make some money all at the same time? Like, how fucking obvious. I was like, well, what would you do? And then sell that little piece and that little piece. And because you're selling them at a smaller price, obviously it's a little bit more than what the value stack would have been for a brand that sells. And then if they buy all the pieces, they've gone and spent more anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But they need the next piece.
Yeah.
I was just about to say I'm going home, and then I realised that I was. But that, yeah, Sabah, we can stop. I'm done. That was just.
Mic drop.
I was like, I literally, it's just so simple, because you need an audience. Because you need an audience, so you need a brand. Personal brands sell better than faceless brands because people can connect with you, and it's human paying a human, so then naturally they want to see who they're buying from, especially in this industry. They want to get that know, like, and trust. So personal brand is critical.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously you need to be selling something in order to make it worth your while. So if you keep you motivated going, and then the journey and the result that you want to give them, you've got your high ticket offer, because people need to learn how to sell. And so selling a high ticket offer naturally makes sense because it's the quickest way to make the quit your job income.
Yep.
And then by breaking the high ticket offer that you've literally just sold, whatever that may be, into smaller segments, and releasing it in a chronological order, you're making money that way. And then no doubt you've probably been pitched sponsorships as well, which is like something else. And from what I've seen from your content, I don't think you take them, but no doubt you've been pitched for sponsorships and brand deals and all these things at your level. So like, you're making money that way, and then you're actually refusing money that way. Guys, like
that's why I
100% watch this
love
again.
branding, because there's so many different ways you can monetize it, like so many different ways. Like you really have the opportunity to do like a lot. And it's so funny that you mentioned brand deals. Like this is like the last thing I'll say on this point is like with TikTok, kind of like the direction where I'm going is it is a little bit broader. And my focus now on there is to like, of course, get clients to teach people how to make money, but like I want to get into the realm of getting brand deals with companies and include a little bit more of like the fashion side of me and really create more of that like iconic personal brand from like a broader perspective. And like now, I have the freedom and the opportunity to like play, because since I, had years of building up my audience, I have credibility, I have authority. Now I get, the time to experiment and have fun. And I couldn't have done that if I didn't have a brand. So, once again, like long-term play, I didn't think I'd be doing this when I first got started in college, but like, I'm so glad I did. And, everyone that's listening now, if you are just starting, or if, you've already started your business and you haven't focused on branding, like it's never too late at all whatsoever. You just have so much more freedom and flexibility to monetize, but then also just honestly do whatever you want. Cause with your personal brand, it's you. Like you can do whatever, like literally whatever you want.
Yeah, that's one thing I found with my personal brand is the flexibility it's had for me to move to different things, whether I've enjoyed it or not. Like that has been super, super useful. And people still like, because the authority's there. Like as long as you stick at this for more than 6 months, you will already beat 90% of the people out there. In terms of longevity, know, like, and trust. So it's just about like sticking to that. Now, obviously, we do have to wrap up. But you do have a bit of a free guide to offer people. Now, it is in the YouTube description, first link below. But do you want to tell us a little bit about that guide?
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, it's my Instagram guide where I think it's like a 7-page document basically teaching you how to grow your brand on Instagram and attract clients. So, that guide, it walks you through everything in terms of, creating content, your messaging, to selling your offers. So That's my free guide to all of you. I've had, I want to say like close to like 500 people download that. So definitely download it. I give it all away. And yeah, at the bottom of that guide, I have all of my links on there too. So if you guys want to connect with me, feel free to do that as well.
Absolutely fantastic, Sabah. As usual, it's just golden every single time. I really do appreciate you coming on again
Yes, of
and giving
course.
me even more. Like I feel like every time I jump on, I learn something. So like I don't know about you guys who are watching, but I will certainly be going back and rewatching this. As the gold is just 100% there. Any final thoughts before I let you go and start your day?
Honestly, just implement what you guys are learning, like in this interview and everything else that you guys are going to be watching. Like, implement. Like, the faster you implement, the clearer you're going to become in everything. Like, don't overthink it. And that's like one thing that I definitely did when I first got started. I just like went for it, and then from action, I got much clearer.
Absolutely, no, you are right. Obviously, like information without implementation is nothing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
100%, as Sabah said, like 100 get implemented. Like some of the strategies she's already spoke about, documentation. I'm going to start documenting more because I'm really bad at it. But yeah, I'm doing stuff like this and I don't even document it, or how I managed to get X, Y, or Z person to come on an interview, anything like that. So I will definitely be implementing what you have said as usual. Thank you so much, and guys, obviously, we'll drop some love for Sabah. She definitely deserves it today, as per usual. And we will see you on our latest show tonight. Well, tonight UK, afternoon US. Ready for our next one. I'll see you soon.